All right, so the peace methods, the P stands for present moment. The E stands for express your feelings. The A stands for allow or appreciate. The C stands for consider the contrary. And the E stands for enthusiasm. So I know we don't have a whole bunch of time on this call, so I'll just share an example of how one might use that. Unless you had a painful thought you want me to work with, I'll just give an example. Does that sound good, Jessica?
That would be fabulous. Thank you, Aurora.
Okay. So how to use the peace method, and if you're listening at home, you can make a note of this, and then you'll be able to use this right away as a journaling process. You want to focus on just one painful thought at a time. I say that painful thoughts are like, bricks, and you're in a brick prison that's keeping you trapped in a place that's not your happiest place. You're not peaceful or empowered or inspired. But, just as if you were a prisoner in an actual prison made of bricks, you wouldn't, touch each brick a little bit. That would be no point. You would focus on one at a time and see if you could get it a little bit loose or maybe even pop it out. And then just like if you were in a prison made of bricks, you don't have to take down every brick to wiggle out through the hole and have freedom and escape to the beautiful garden on the other side. So with that said, you focus on one painful thought, and then you follow it all the way through. So, for example, a few months ago, I got a phone call from my brother, and I was out getting tea, and he said, Mom's had a stroke, and she's in the hospital. So immediately I was like, immediate knife in my heart. And so I went to sit down. Okay. It felt very strong, immediate, panicky, fearful, anticipatory grief kind of icky, sticky feelings. So I thought, okay, I know what to do. I'll do my own peace method. So I identified that the painful thought was, my mom is going to die. So then I did these steps. So the P is first to come into the present moment. So sitting there at Coffee Bean, I took a couple of deep cleansing breaths, and that already helped me get more calm. And then I asked the question, is the thought, my mom is going to die, about the past, the present, or the future? And I realized she's going to die. Obviously, it's a thought about the future. And what you and I know about this, Jessica, is we can never change the past, and we can never solve all potential future problems. And trying to solve all potential future problems is the recipe for continual stress because it's insane. So I kind of went, okay, she's not dead yet, and I'm already fortune-telling that she is. I just noticed. I brought myself more awareness to be in the present moment because that is our point of power and our point of peace. The second step, the E, express your feelings. So I just connected with myself with empathy and noticed, how I felt about that and the fear and the worry and the other things that were coming up. And I just had a moment of kindness, witnessing my own thoughts and feelings around the thought my mom is going to die. And that helps me feel, more connected, less scattered, and heard, even though I was only listening to myself. And then the A can stand for accept or allow. I kind of like the flavor of allow, sometimes a little softer. So my mom is going to die. So I allowed that. And I found actually that was very helpful to me. Instead of receiving the thought, my mom is going to die, like an attack, like a wrongness, like a knife coming at me to attack me, I was able to allow that, because it is true. As far as I know, my mom is going to die, I'm going to die, we're all going to die. And so it shifted me very profoundly, actually, from, that's just a wrongness and a lot of resistance around the thought my mom is going to die, to, that is true, like a telegram, like incoming, news to Aurora, mom is going to die. Okay, thank you for sharing. Harder to appreciate that my mom is going to die, but what I could appreciate was that I wouldn't have that big of a reaction if I didn't love her so much and if we didn't have a good relationship. And so I could appreciate that it's the love that is there between me and my mother that creates that grief. So I was able to appreciate that, and that was a little more sweet and gentle. The C is consider the contrary. So I looked at my mom is not going to die, And in some ways, there is some truth to that. Her DNA lives on. Her wisdom will live on in me. I didn't find that super powerful in this particular case, and that's why I say this peace method is sort of like your favorite yoga class. Sometimes downward dog is exactly what you need, and sometimes, you need to do cobra. So for this particular one, it was more the allowing that really helped me. And then also the last one really helped me. The final E in the peace method stands for enthusiasm. So enthusiasm means to be filled with God, N-C-O, so filled with God. So I asked myself, what am I filled with God about? Or what do I consciously choose if you're doing this at home and you would prefer that language? And I realized that, okay, my mom is going to die. She's had a near brush, and at that moment we didn't know what was going to unfold. Happy to report she's fine. And so I went home and I booked a flight back home to Vancouver, BC, Canada. And so it took me longer to say it really than to do it. So in about 5 minutes, I shifted from panic, grief, scattered emotions to clarity, peace, and empowered action to do what for me was the right action, which was to go home and visit my mom, which I did.
Thank you for sharing that story and sharing something so personal with us for the benefit of the listener to be able to apply it to themselves in their own life and what they may be going through. You've shared so much in just this brief time, Aurora. Do you have any parting words of wisdom for our listener?
Well, I have two parting words of wisdom. One, I believe that we all have a divine mission and that there's a reason why you are here on this planet. And I believe that there's no wrongness and that the things that may be troubling to you are really just calling you to wake up into your greatness, into your divine purpose, into your mission. And so to allow those things to be a wake-up call, like in the morning you maybe don't like it that the alarm clock is waking you up, but perhaps those things are sent as gifts to wake you up into your greatness. So that's one. And the second thing I'd like to share is whatever Jessica Ardeal is doing, I would totally jump on with both feet. I adore this woman. She's got impeccable integrity and such a joyful energy. So just love her, and I think it would be a wise thing to continue to be in her community in a big way because she's a delight.